What's up, everybody? I'm Stan, and welcome to Detail Comics, where we go over comics in detail. This is iRate Reviews, the weekly review show where I go over a comic book, its story, its art, give you my impressions, and whether it's something you should go back to the comic book shop for or not. I'm going to be talking about Doom Patrol number 3 in this one, and Doom Patrol has easily established itself as one of the most fun reads out of DC Rebirth. And this is particularly because of the brand of comedy and the style of storytelling that Gerard is putting into this. So as far as talking about the story, what we're going to do is we're going to start off with Casey Brinke. So this picks up where the last issue left off, and she is entering into Dannyland. So we finally get a little bit of an understanding as to what Danny actually is. So originally Danny was just simply a magical road, or a road that was sentient and that could teleport around and pick up individual people, but over time he has evolved. He has gotten to a point where there was like, oh, there's shops now on his street, and there's more people that are on his street, and eventually he became an entire land that looks eerily reminiscent of Disneyland, but I'm not going to say nothing. As we kind of move down and get to this progression, you see, Flex Mentallo, the muscle mystery man and whatnot, he is leading her towards her ultimate explanation, because Miss Brinke is a unique individual in this world, and we find out why. So she is actually the character Space Case, and this is an original creation of Danny. He was originally, as his thought process, his little mild musings, his daydreams, he created a comic book character that was like some part of a flight squadron and whatnot, and eventually she had adventures all over the galaxy as part of this comic book that was sold in shops on the street for people that lived around Danny Street and, Dannyland. And this is one of the interesting things, because this being, this entity named Danny, essentially gave birth to this character that we are now seeing the Doom Patrol through. So her destiny, according to Danny, is to essentially protect and gather the Doom Patrol, the people that were really part of that core piece. And we see that that's the case simply because they make reference to original things that happened in the previous volume of Doom Patrol. They reference Oolong Island, which is where essentially the Doom Patrol had their headquarters for a while. And that's going to be very interesting, because the task now, as we see these kind of like hexanodroids or whatever the hell they are, the geometric aliens that are trying to get Danny and basically take all his meat, which is a ridiculous premise all on its own. They find the ambulance, which is an extension of Danny in the material world at this point in time, and start just brutalizing it. And this is it's a really rough situation for Danny, Miss Brinke, and everyone else. We also have this side plot where essentially Larry Trainor is found to have been separated from his negativity. And that embodiment of negativity makes his way to Earth, finds Larry, and then commandeers him and Cliff, aka Robotman, and just like, poof, bamps him out of there. So this is a story where essentially it was just like, oh my god, tangent, 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 and nothing really felt connected. And it's slowly and slowly getting smaller, 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 and making more and more and more sense. And because that's the case, it becomes a much more entertaining read, because you're like, oh, that piece fits there, and that piece fits there, and that piece fits there. And it's a really fun kind of book. I really like what Gerard is doing with the overall story, because it still feels like a bit of chaos, but it slowly becomes more and more controlled, more and more compact, and it brings, it gels. It becomes a story that you can really follow along with, and that's one of the best things about it. Nick Derington on the art is doing a fantastic job. When it needs a varying art style, he does temper himself and goes into a little bit of a different area in order to create that different art style, but overall there's an extreme level of consistency, and overall the character designs are very appealing, so I'm a really big fan of the art. Especially when we got to the comic book section, which was super entertaining, because it was all these different art styles, all these different typographies, and all this. It was just a great expression of what comic books were, with a couple really cool homage pages, like different titles and things like that, back to like DC days. And I thought it was a brilliant stroke to kind of introduce the Space Case character in that aspect. So overall, I'm really a big fan of Doom Patrol. As somebody that's never really read a whole heck of a lot of it, I really enjoy where this is going, and I can't really recommend this enough. It's a great book to jump onto. And right now, you've still got plenty of time, because you can still get issue 1, 2, and then this is issue 3. So there's more than enough story to kind of get going on and then keep sticking around for. So that's my review of Doom Patrol number 3, but I want to know what you guys think too. I'm curious to see where you think this is going. As always, if you like what you see, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe right there to get more news, reviews, and commentary on comic books, comic book movies, comic book TV shows and games, and anything and everything inside the world of comics.